Captain Jose here with Seize the Day Fishing Charters. So today I'm going to share my secret of how to catch a Texas slam. For those of you that have gone with me, a few of you have caught Texas slams before. Ariel, I can think of you right off the bat. First time really fishing Texas saltwater, and she got a slam. So today, that was my goal when I went fishing. I wanted to catch a slam. I didn't think I was going to run into schools of fish because it's weekend warriors are out. They're going to disrupt all the schools. So that was my goal today. I have 3 easy steps of how you can catch a Texas slam. Step 1, go fishing. I almost didn't go fishing because I have a lot of work to do. I've been studying a lot for work and I almost didn't come out here, but I decided I needed a little saltwater therapy, so I'm out here. I'm not gonna catch any fish if you stay in bed or if you're at the desk or if you're at the laptop reading. You just need a little break every once in a while. Come out here, get some fresh air, enjoy God's green earth. It's a gift, respect the gift, and just get out there. That's step 1. Step 2, so we get a little more technical. So the first thing I did was I went to a spot where I know there are all species of fish that I'm looking for. Trout, red, and flounder. So that's step 2, is to put yourself in a target-rich environment. So my first leg of my trip was to just catch a fish, put a fish in the box. That way I can dial down and I can really focus on the other 2 kinds of fish that I'm trying to catch. So here, the first fish that I caught was a trout. So by putting myself in that environment, I was fishing cut bait, live bait, and throwing a whole bunch of plastics. The cut bait and the live bait was for reds, live bait was mostly for trout, the plastics were for flounder, and I was working every water column so I didn't try to pick up anything. So I wound up picking up a trout, and that lets me know that my next, the next thing I need to focus on is catching a red or a flounder. So recap, step 1 is go fishing. Step 2, put yourself in a target-rich environment. So we continue with step 2 on that one. I went after reds because I thought it would be harder to find a red, so I want to get it out of the way. I went to a place called Green's Lake where I know reds hang out. Went there. I really focused on some cut bait, throwing plastics in the middle to the upper water column, and a little bit of live bait, but mostly focusing on the reds. They like that smelly cut bait, and they like the action of the lures. I picked up a red there. And then it was all about the flatty yaddy, all about the flounder. I took myself out of there and I went to the marsh because the marsh almost always has some flatties. I had to go to like 2 or 3 different spots in the marsh because the wind was bad. A whole bunch of fishermen were out. But that leaves me to step 3. Step 3 is know what's under the water. As a fisherman, that's what really separates you from the fishermen that go out for fun and the ones that go out and really catch the fish. And I've been both before. There's nothing wrong with being both. So know what's under the water. So when I fish for flounder, I fish in a grid. I go from left to right or right to left depending on the wind, and I will fish the bottom water column and the middle water column. Let's see if I can find my lure here, I can show you. So what I mean by that is if I'm fishing the middle, I'll put rod tip up and I'll jig it to where the lure comes up and it trickles down. On that down trickle is when you catch a lot of fish. Up, trickles down. Middle water column to the bottom. If you're fishing the bottom, you're just going to skirt it on the bottom. Skirt on the bottom. The way you skirt it on the bottom is a rod tip down, and you kind of pop your lure with your rod tip down the whole time. You never pick up your rod tip. Now, that does 2 things. That one, that it controls where in the water column you have your lure. And today was all about chicken boy lures. Something about the tail on these chicken boys, man. Joe really knows how to make, not me, Joe, another Joe, really knows how to make these lures. So to go check out Chicken Boy Lures, and this is, I'm not getting paid for this, it's not being endorsed. I am just a fisherman with a good lure and trying to share my secrets with you guys. Flounders love Chicken Boy. On a strike guy, I prefer strike guy hooks. So JK. So anyway, it does 2 things. Puts your lure in a specific water column, and then it lets you know what's on the bottom. So as you're fishing the grid, you're going to pull up some grass. You know, there's grass there. As you continue with your grid to like say the middle, you might find some shell. You want to avoid shell because for the most part, flounder are going to get away from shell. And as you work the grid, often say off to the left, it's going to be a softer bottom maybe. So that way you know there's sand and there's mud there. And that's what flounder like. They like to bury themselves in the sand or the mud. A stingray-rich environment is a flounder-rich environment for the most part. So I'll work that grid. I'll focus on the part that has the softer bottom, and if I don't find a softer bottom, or even if they're not hitting there, I'll focus on another grid. I'll start another grid to my 6 o'clock or wherever, and I'll find the soft bottom and I'll target there. I'll skirt it. I may do some middle water column, but it's always for me skirting my lure on the bottom, letting the tail action work on the soft bottom. And sure enough, I found a nice flounder in the marsh here. I actually hooked up a second one, but I lost him right at the boat, because every fisherman has to have the I lost it at the boat story. So that's what it is. And so the end result was a Texas slam. That's a flounder, a red, and a trout. The flounder is a nice size. I didn't get to measure it yet, but so remember, go fishing, enjoy it, appreciate the gift that we have. Put yourself in a target-rich environment, and that's going to depend on the depth, oh my gosh, wind, a whole bunch of stuff. And then know the bottom of the water, and then you can either find that out by weighting it or by casting, dragging on the bottom, knowing where you're at, and know which water column to fish. But most importantly, just respect the gift that we have. Make the most of it every day. Make the time to enjoy nature. I mean, this is just amazing. And anyone that's fished with me knows that I love to teach. So there's my lesson for the day. I also love to cook. So beginning of next year, we're going to start a whole new series of videos called Season the Day with Captain Jose, and I'm going to show you how I catch how I cook the fish that I catch. And those of you that really know me know that I'm not so bad at cooking this fish. So that's the next thing I'd like to share with you at the beginning of next year. So Season the Day, Captain Jose. Love you guys. Remember, it's not always about catching every fish you can catch. Catching, yeah, but killing them, no. It's conserving, making sure you have an environment for the next generation. If he's borderline, throw him back. Don't break the laws. The laws are there for a reason. And just respect Mother Nature. If you do, it'll come back to you. Promise you. Seize the day.